All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the On the Block podcast. I'm here with the most recent evictee from Big Brother Minecraft. I'm here with Sage. Welcome, Sage.
Hi. Hello.
Awesome. All right, so Sage, obviously that was the most emotional Big Brother Minecraft eviction I have ever seen in the history of doing this show. How are you feeling? How are you feeling today?
Today, feeling great. I'm rejuvenated after 2 years of not being. No, I mean, I feel good now. Looking back on it, it definitely is very emotional to watch. That was not my proudest moment, but I mean, I was emotional because I cared about it. You know what I mean? I cared about how I did on the show, and I really wanted to win, obviously. So yeah, it's just that's how the cookie crumbled, you know?
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad to see that you're not still upset about losing a Minecraft game.
Maybe the $500, but it's fine.
Right. Hey, you never know. Maybe you'll get fan favorite. Who knows? Which, if you haven't voted yet, everybody go vote for whoever you want to win America's favorite house guest. Anyway, back to the podcast. So yeah, Sage, you had a pretty exceptional run this season on Big Brother Minecraft. I think it's one of the more interesting ones in the most recent history of the show. I mean, the last 3 seasons, I don't think anyone's really played like you've played. And even going into the casting process, I kind of had a feeling you'd play, really hard and really, strong. I feel like, especially because we have a lot of we have a decent amount of recruits playing the game. So, I mean, you were coming in here with a caliber of gameplay that not a lot of the other people were really going to enter the game with. So, yeah, I mean, it was really awesome to see firsthand for you to just come in here and play the game that you played. So I think you should definitely be proud of it. I don't think you should have any ill thoughts about just the way you played. I think you should be proud of it. But let's talk about how you played. So
yes,
you came into the game week 1, and the twist obviously happens, and it's you can basically campaign for yourself to be head of household. So what made you want to stand up in front of everybody that soon and be like, hey, vote me as head of household?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a very ballsy move to do that. But I said before the show started that I wanted to be the first HOH. I think if you can play the first HOH correctly, then it is it'll make or break you winning or losing the game. And so, yeah, when I heard that we weren't competing for HOH, I was like, well, I might as well make the opportunity. So I think that just kind of reflects the way that I live my life and the way that I create space for myself. If there's not space for me, I just kind of hold space for it and make my mark. So it definitely, I think, worked out for me to do that because it kind of started the game off very quickly and made some sides. So I definitely don't regret the way that I stood up and did that. I think it worked out well.
Awesome.
And I would do it again.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. Would you do that again? And there you go.
Absolutely.
So you basically came into the game, and obviously there's another twist that was thrown at you. When you were crowned head of household, is that now one of your nominees that is on the block at the end of the week is now going to become the next head of household. So when making your nominees in the beginning of the game, when you chose Nick and Happy, did you choose Happy? And I don't know if we ever really touched up on this on the show, but did you choose Happy because you thought that he'd be a great next head of household because you knew him, coming into the game? Or what was the thought process there? Did you actually just not really trust him? I don't know.
No, so it really, you kind of screwed me over there with the twist in that moment because it was very twist and then immediate nominations. I think I got the screwed over the most in terms of the pre-jury head of households because they were all aware of the twist and I had to do it on the spot. But I did what you said is pretty much true. I had not really talked to Happy yet, but I knew that I knew him. He was the only person that knew who I was too. And I obviously wasn't going to nominate a doll at that point because we had just started already snowballing that. And so I was I feel like this is my best situation to put someone up who would keep me safe the next week, possibly. But that was all I could do at that point. Again, it's just gaming very quickly, and the game of Big Brother is already so fast, but our game is even faster. So that was just a split-second decision.
Right, absolutely. And speaking of just the pacing of the game, obviously the game took about I think 22 hours or something like that. You've had history of hosting your own games. I've actually, people that don't know this, I played in Sage's
Yes.
first ever recorded Big Brother Minecraft back in like 2017, and that was a really fun time. I recommend you guys go check that out if you haven't already. I had a pretty
Ooh, maybe
insane,
not that.
yeah, I had a pretty insane run on there, but I'm embarrassed, guys. I'm embarrassed. But yeah,
I'm
so
embarrassed because I was like 14 years old, and
right,
well, we
but
were all children, but like, you know what I mean?
it was all for fun. It was all for fun. But
Yeah.
coming from like the history of like being around like game shows, like Minecraft game shows like that before, like what was it like just coming into this game and playing it, like actually playing in one rather than hosting?
It was the most fantastic experience. Like I I really had an amazing time, even though towards the end it got a little emotional. Like the rest of the time, I really had a blast. Like, and the fact that I went so far in the game, I got to accomplish like all the things that I dreamt of competing in, like the comps I competed in, the wins, the losses, all of the above. I had a great time. So the pacing, though, even as someone who has run a show like this, was very different being on the other side of it because like y'all are watching it and you're seeing like 15, 20 minutes of footage per round, right? But that was like all happening simultaneously, and you're seeing different people talking to each other that were happening at the same time and just in different rooms. And so it was almost like whiplash, like especially being HOH 2 times in the first 3 weeks, and having to talk to people like just back to back to back. It was a lot to try to get a hold on, but I think I did the best that I could with the time I was given.
Absolutely. Was there anything that like shocked you after seeing? Because like I mean, at this point, as we're recording this, only 5 episodes are out. But out of the episodes that you've seen and the clips that you've seen, is there anything that really like shocked you about just like the game, or just like things that you didn't see from like just watching the episodes?
Yes, absolutely. I think that I had no idea that people like Landry and Happy and Maddie, all of these people I had like really close relationships with, were turning on me that early on in the game. Like seeing confessionals and conversations from like like 3 or 4, like they were already considering like turning on me at that point. I had no idea that was happening. I thought that I was locked in with those people. So that was kind of hard to watch, but I mean, I would have done the same thing if I was them, but I had no idea.
Right. And for someone that was there, I'm seeing every, conversations from like just the host perspective. I didn't even realize that either until I started editing the episodes.
Yeah.
Because I don't see every confessional, I don't see every conversation, but for the ones I was there for, I actually did not know people were talking about turning on you. So that was pretty interesting as well. So yeah, you get Nick out on your first HOH. Looking back on that, is that something that like I don't know, because like Nick, as we know today, he's a great guy, right? But like, do you think that like that was like the best possible scenario for you, like I guess like down the line for you, or like getting Nick out?
I actually do. I mean, like, there's very few regrets that I do have about the game that I played, and I wouldn't say I regret getting Nick out. I would say maybe like how things came across that week is maybe not the best way that it played out, but I do think that it really just poetically made sense for the 2 people who stood up and one of us I don't know if Nick would have targeted me if he won HOH, but I feel like that was just in my brain what was going on. So I think that it set the tone of the season in a direction that I was hoping it would go in. Like, and it obviously with the twist, I became HOH the next week. So, or no, wait, I became HOH. I just messed it up. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Week 3. And so like the flip flopping worked really well in my favor. But yeah, sorry, Nick, you were a great guy. I'm sorry you went home first.
Yeah, sorry, Nick. But let's talk about week 2. Week 2 was a very interesting week, obviously. You have a rival brewing now with this man, Boyar.
Yes.
Let's talk about Boyar. How did you feel about him in the moment versus today?
Honestly, it was like a roller coaster of emotions. Like it went on like a 5-minute by 5-minute basis at that point. Like by the week where what is it? Week 3 was I was HOH. By week 3, I honestly was pretty chill with him.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because it kind of reflects the current season that's airing right now with like Rachel and Keanu. It's like we had this big fight, and then we kind of just go back and we're like, well, you're not that bad. And I honestly am really sad that Boyar went out in the split house and he was inside and I was outside, because I feel like we could have honestly worked together past that. I don't know if he felt the same way, but I think it would have been really funny to see that relationship keep going. But no, I think it was all love. Once we all learned that he just really did not know what he was doing, I was like, okay, you're not really much of a threat anymore.
Right. I would have loved to see that. I'm here for this this alliance between you and Boyar. I don't know, who knows.
Yes, bald final two.
The bald final two, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's funny that you like compare it to Rachel and Keanu. Because I see the same thing myself. It's funny.
Yes, we were the OGs because we filmed it 2 years ago.
Right,
so
exactly. We are totally the OGs for sure. Well, you guys are the OGs. So anyway, back to the, let's keep it in a little chronological order. So yeah, obviously Boyar tries to nominate you, or he does renominate you after the veto was used on Landry in week 2, and then you go up and then you go at it with him, and like there's a lot going on there. There's a lot of hostility. It seems like there's just a lot going on in this house. Did you plan to like play like that coming into the game, where you would call people out? Because it didn't, like, I don't think that you were, but I'm curious to like how did you feel like that you kind of evolved into
what
that?
I told you in our interview is that I'm not a confrontational person for no reason, but if I have a reason to confront you, I'm going to do it. Like if I hear you're talking about me, or if you come for me, obviously that's what happened, then I will come for you.
Right.
And usually if I'm coming for you, I'm going to win, or I'm going to try to win my hardest. You know what I mean? So like, I definitely did not expect to have to confront people that early, but it ended up again working in my favor, because I had the relationships from week 1 that I had built from being HOH. Also paired with the fact that Davison had not been gaming as hard as early. Do you know what I mean? Like obviously he was playing the game. Sorry, Davison. But like, I think he would have stayed against other people, but against me, I was like, but even like in retrospect, when you announced the vote, and I think I like gasped or something. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. In that moment, I really thought I was going home. Even really? After the relationships. Yeah, I really thought I was going home. I thought it was going to be like majority, like a split vote, but majority for me to go. Just because if I was anyone else, I would have taken the shot at me too. Do you know what I mean?
That makes sense.
So I guess I doubted my social abilities early in the game. But yeah, I don't have many regrets. I wouldn't say calling out Boyar is one of them, because we both ended up laughing about it in the season even. So yeah, I'm glad it made good TV. That was another goal of mine.
And is there any chance that you've actually picked up on watching boxing since filming this season? I'm sure a lot of people would like
to know. I actually think that my chances of my boxing stocks have gone down even more. I think I'll probably, I'll stick with what's another sport? Baseball,
sure, yeah.
I'll stick with RuPaul's Drag Race.
Fair enough. Yeah. So yeah, I think going back to like you versus Davison on the block, I think probably what worked really good in your favor was the fact that you had HOH week 1. You were able to really like garner some relationships, whereas like I feel like Davison was playing a more of like a low key game and trying to build like kind of like one-on-one connections. But I feel like like, with you being the head of household the week before, I feel like people just felt a little bit more comfortable and like knew what to expect with an HOH from you rather than Davison. So that probably also does take into account for that. But then, now Davison's gone. Now you're head of household again, and now things are getting crazy. Boyar saved himself with the veto after you were disqualified from the veto. Which, by the way, guys, like obviously this happened a while ago. I don't hold anything against Sage. Like I think Sage made an honest mistake, and Sage owned up to it, and like that's all good in my eyes. You know what I mean? Like I can forgive Sage for that. It's not like we weren't really that like mad or heated about it. It was just we're running.
It was an unfortunate situation that I caused myself. Yeah.
When running games like this, we try to make sure it's fair for everybody, and that's just like unfortunately like what we had to do. It wasn't like I wish we didn't have to do that, but anyway. But yeah, so now that like Boyar is like wins the veto, and then now you have to look for a renom, and like one of the names coming to you is from Landry is Joe. So let's talk about this a little bit, because there was a lot of feelings from Joe on his end as far as what happened with that. So do you want to like just share your side of the story a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to like touch on it too much, but I will say that like there's like, I guess, a game part and a kind of personal part. So I guess the game part for like what wasn't shown in its entirety, which is not your fault, because obviously the episodes are already so long, but like I had one-on-ones with every single person in the house that I could in the time given between Boyar winning the veto and Joe going up, including Joe themselves. So like when I talked to every single person, the name that came up the most by every single person in all of my alliances was Joe. And so I just want to give, like, for game context, if I did not put Joe up in that moment, it would not have made sense for my game.
Right.
Like, because I would be going against almost the entire house. I think the only people who didn't say Joe's name and said like Jake instead were like what, Happy, and did Vince say Jake, or I don't even remember who said it, but like
Vince
most
definitely said Joe. Like pretty much almost everybody except for Happy, I think, said Joe.
Yeah.
Which, you know, for whoever you talk to.
Yeah.
My unbiased approach on this, I do think that like that was the correct move to make, because you see that Happy, your number one at the time, which he was your number one, right? Like, am I wrong for saying that?
I would say at that point in the game, Happy and Landry were my like two final twos.
Yeah.
Like they were on the same playing field.
So Joe was, I mean, publicly seen as, and maybe this wasn't, I mean, this was true. Like they were definitely like a very tight alliance. So taking Joe away from Happy makes Happy more loyal to you. Like it's a chess move. I get that. I don't really think that, and I know that like I get the whole like the perspective of like, oh, like, you know, like like someone's, you know, being excluded from a group. Like I get that. I totally see the point of view there. But like I think from a game point of view, I think it totally makes sense. I just think it's unfortunate, like just how it all, you know, it was just unfortunate the way that like, you know, whatever. But I think that,
and that's the like personal, like the game part. That's why I was going to explain the game part.
Yeah.
The personal part, which for me, it was not personal, but like, I obviously want to acknowledge that like on the other end of things that Joe did take it personally. And so I think the whole situation is just unfortunate, but at the end of the day, I don't regret taking Joe out in that moment, but I do, I guess, regret in retrospect how people feel about the situation. But I just want to clarify that, like, and I'll look in the camera and say, it's like, this is a Minecraft game show. It's not that serious. Like, it is serious. Like, this is a really cool game, but it's not that serious.
Right.
What I will say is serious is some of the accusations that are being made on like my end, because throwing words around like, you know, bullying, gaslighting, manipulating, those things were not happening in this moment in a game like this. Like the game was being played, but it was not that serious. And even like in retrospect, seeing the show, we now know that people like Landry and Jake were more in control of that move than even I was.
Right.
Like I was taking the shot because I was HOH, but like I was not doing it just for my game because I was being told by other people as well. So, you know, that's all I will say about it. My apology from a few months ago that I've said still stands. It's still love from my side, and I wish that things did not get escalated to this point, but that's just how things happen, you know.
Right. And I think that's all that needs to be said about that. I think that you perfectly summarized that like to a T. I think even better than I could have said it. Especially like talking about like the Landry and Jake part of it. I think that like they definitely had more of a hand in the strategic part of it than you did. But But anyway, to kind of put an end to that chapter, I think that should be the end of it. I don't really think that. Yeah, I
agree.
But yeah, moving on from that, obviously like, you know, the whole house is kind of like shifted towards like Vince, and then, you know, Vince goes home, and then like and then the split house happens, and then you know, Maddie's head of household on the outside with all of you, and then Via's on the inside with her crew. The way that the outside house from a producer standpoint, it was really frustrating to deal with. But I want to hear your perspective of what the outside house was like for you, because obviously it was a really intense week for a lot of people. It was more emotional than the inside house. So how was it like for you?
I honestly think that my game had not imploded at that point. So like I had a great week, honestly. Like I thought truthfully that we were going back, me and Landry both. We both thought we were going back into a house 4 people strong, 4v4, you know, whatever. Yeah. Like I thought that our final 4 with Maddie and Braden was legit. And you know, that's just, you're not aware of every conversation that's going on. So when Maddie and Braden are up in the balcony talking about their plans against it right after, I was none the wiser. I legitimately had no idea. I still do think that like the move to take out Jake was the correct one for me in Landry's game at that moment. But I I don't regret it. I like it did get a little nasty, so maybe we regret that part. But
Right.
like the fact that production has to step in for once is like crazy. But yeah, I do think that the week went okay for my game, and I wouldn't have. I mean, there's a chance in that week that Maddie could have taken the shot at me, so I'm just glad that that didn't happen. You know.
Right. Yeah, and Maddie said, I mean, in the episode, like, had Jake won the veto, that like Landry would have been her target, and then like, so that would have been
Yes.
interesting. I mean, like, to make that move that early on was kind of crazy, but Landry ends up going home next week anyway, which we'll get into in a bit. But I also just wanted to quickly acknowledge, because I know a lot of people were kind of upset that like the fight was like cut short from the outside house, and like, guys, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
like there's like, you know, I can't make these episodes like 2 hours long. I mean, the fight was, I did go back. The fight was like, I think a total of 7 minutes. We showed 4 minutes of it. So we just cut out like the going back and forth, the you know, the talking in circles part of it. You guys saw like a majority of like, I mean, literally you
The
got
gist of it.
the
Yeah.
gist of it. You got the gist of what the argument was about. It was just a lot of talking in circles that was cut out. So you didn't really miss much. But yeah, I mean, production does step in sometimes when like it just things aren't really needed, and like we already know like what the outcome is going to be. Like trust me, production knows.
Yeah, like I
what's
wasn't
gonna
using my
happen.
veto anyway.
Exactly.
So it's like yeah.
Yeah, Sage wasn't using the veto. Like we knew Jake was going home the second Sage won the veto. It was like there was no like nothing was gonna change there. I mean, it almost did, but like the fact that Maddie and Braden had this like duo growing, like we knew that there was no chance for Braden going home. But that's besides the fact. Anyway, to talk about the next week, pressure cooker happens. Sage, you get disqualified from, well, not disqualified, but you get eliminated early from the pressure cooker.
Yeah.
We've now figured out that it was just Sage's internet, which is unfortunate that it
yes.
just came down to that. Had we known that,
It actually wasn't. I was pushed, and I want to tell my side of the story.
Right? Yeah.
No, yeah. My internet was so bad where I used to live, so it was just a ping thing. But yeah, I would have held on that button for as long as I could have if
I feel
had the
bad.
chance.
Maybe if I were to do another season, I'll have you come back and host the pressure cooker just to make up for it.
Yes, I can stand in the middle of the pressure cooker just with my bald head like spinning around.
Yeah, like a disco ball.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, so you get eliminated from that. Mac wins. So there's a big group that goes up into the head of household. You're not in it. You're confused on what's going on. And this kind of creates the narrative for I think the rest of the season. It's like what was really said in that head of household room while Mac was head of household, and you're kind of like on the hunt trying to figure out the truth, and you're just on this journey of truth. Like you really want to know who is lying, who is telling the truth. You end up calling a house meeting, I think at the beginning of week 8. Yeah, the beginning of week 8, you call this house meeting after Mac is out. And so Braden, Tara, and Maddie just kind of push the blame all onto Mac. Do you think you really believed that in that moment? Like, did you really believe that it was all like Mac's fault in that scenario?
No, I like at that point I really didn't know what to believe because again, like this whole narrative of trust is going on, and all of my allies had been turning against me, like unbeknownst to me, and all kind of just blew up in my face all at once with Landry going home. And so, I don't know. What was hard for me to like wrap my brain around, and this sounds like petty, but just hear me out. What was hard for me to wrap my brain around is the fact that because I had power so early on in the game for like a large stretch of time, and I protected people intentionally, like that I wanted to work with and that I wanted to go far in the game, to like come to terms with the fact that those people like weren't going to repay it. You know what I mean? Was like hard for me to grapple with, which it's Big Brother. You don't have to repay anyone. Like you don't owe me anything. But in my brain, I was like, why aren't these people loyal to me? I was loyal to them for X amount of weeks. You know what I mean? And so that was really hard. And then also losing Landry too. It's like, and fighting for my own life in that moment. I think it completely turned the point of my game, which is why I am so proud of my game, because my gameplay style had to shift like so many times in the span of the season that I think it's just one of the most unique stories that like I've seen someone play. So I wish I had the chance to say that in the final 2 chairs, but I'm still very proud of the game that I played.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think you should. And I try not to be like, I try to be impartial. I try to be very neutral, but like, I mean, the stats are there. I got to give credit where credit's due. I got to give you your flowers. Like the game that you played this season was certainly, it's one of the more memorable ones in my opinion. I think people will definitely look back on season 9. I think you will remember your game for sure, among with the other people.
Whether they like it or not.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. I did want to backpedal a little bit because I did forget to mention this, but during Max HOH, after Happy wins the veto yet again, what a surprise. But after Happy wins the veto, it almost seems like that alliance of Mac, Tara, Braden, and Maddie, they were going to push for you as the replacement right? It only makes sense because like it seemed like you and Landry were being seen as a duo, and you guys were trying to play it off like you weren't, but everyone knew you were. I
legitimately had no idea we were clocked that early. Like that moment where me and Landry are sitting outside and we're like a duo at the same time. I think we both were just being like, I legitimately did not think that we were clocked, but we were. Yeah. So that's our bad.
There's actually a scene in Secret Scenes where Landry approaches you and warns you. I don't know when this happened. This may have been before Jake said this, which is pretty funny because it happens like right after. But I think Landry warns you like, hey, I just to let you know, I think we're being seen as a duo. And then you're like, what? Like you're actually genuinely shocked. Like
I was gagged. Yeah. I didn't know.
So it's interesting. But back to the Mac conversation, like you had this conversation with Mac and you basically like you used the Dan Giesling mist. Like you convinced Mac just to basically just on a personal level, like, hey, like don't nominate me. And it worked. Like what are your thoughts on that?
I was shocked. I was fully like almost at peace with the fact, like when I had that meeting, that that was the end of my game, because like I don't see a situation where another HOH does not put me up, and I really do think that I did miss Mac in that moment, like because I don't even know what was coming out of my mouth at that point. I was just throwing every like last ounce of game play that I had in my head out. But yeah, it's unfortunate how like me and Mac's relationship like started that week and ended the next, because we really did not have one like in the game. But that again goes back to the fast-paced nature of this game. Like, would I have loved to have a close relationship with Mac? Yes. But when I'm like HOH the first and third week, I don't even have the chance to have one-on-ones with everybody, So it was like I had to create a semblance of us having that closeness in that moment to try to save myself, and it worked. So thank you, Mac, for not putting me up and ending my game there.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that was definitely one of those moments where I was going to like talk about that at the end to the jury, like that happening, because that was crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the next week, you're head of household and you're fully willing to repay the favor to Mac to like, hey, I'm not going to nominate you. But then Mac is like, nah, you can send me home. And then you're just kind of like dumbfounded. You're like, well, what is going on here? Like, do you not want to play the game? Like,
I know, it was kind of handled me like a silver platter, because otherwise I would have had to go for Happy, which I obviously didn't want to do. So it worked out, but it was definitely a first for a game like this.
Right. So. It's interesting. And obviously, like, we know Mac really doesn't know Big Brother, but like, I don't know, like, what is that? Like, how does it make you feel? Like when someone like that is just like throwing in the towel, like, I mean, that late, I mean, it is very late in the game for sure. We give Mac.
Yeah.
That. But like, how does that make you feel as a really like, someone that's really devoted to the game of Big Brother?
Well, in the typical game of Big Brother, in the typical game of Big Brother, wow, I talk too fast sometimes for my own good. I think that it would be really like disrespectful to do that early, like late in the game. But you have to think, we had been sitting over our keyboards with no sunlight, no water, no food. No, we had been literally sitting there for like so long. So Mac wanting to just like tap out at that point, I think is understandable.
Yeah.
But and it worked out in my favor. So right. I'm not complaining about it. But yeah, I understood the reasons why. But definitely in the moment in the game, I was very confused. I was like, is someone trying to pull something on me? Because why would you do this?
Right. No, it's funny. It's funny. But yeah, so let's jump ahead to now the week 8 double eviction, right? Because now this is a really big turning point in the game. You won the power veto. Happy's head of household.
Yes. It's so fun that was the veto competition, because as you know, we have history with that veto competition.
Yes.
And I am, okay, you're going to have to tell me, because I'm not sure. Did you create that and I stole it from you?
No.
Or did... Okay, I did make that
That
comp.
is a
I legitimately don't
a
remember.
Sage original comp that I don't know. I don't actually know if you're the originator of that. I don't know. Who
I don't
knows?
even know either.
But I got it. I definitely did watch Sage's YouTube channel from like a few years prior because we used that challenge in season 7, I think, or like I think that was the first time we used it. Don't quote me on that. But I definitely used Sage's build for that. So Sage, thank you for the awesome comp. It helped you. In
Yay!
the end
It helped. So it was very lucky that I got that comp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
As soon as I saw that comp, I knew it was winning because, like, as I've said, like throughout the whole like pre-gaming this whole thing, like I built other comps that you have done, and I already had that competition, and like call me a loser or whatever, but I literally went through and I watched the past few seasons. I wrote down every comp, how many times it was played, who won it, like the strategy they won it with. I was studying these competitions, and it worked out in that moment really well. So I'm glad that was the veto.
Listen, I mean, people, I hope people don't take that and like that you did that and being like, oh, like Sage is just like doing too much. Like, no, I think that you need to do that in order to win the game. I'm actually happy that somebody like you took the time to really like study this because it's fun. Like, I like the fact that somebody like you is out there and like actually like is willing to take the time to like actually give a shit about like the work that goes into this stuff because it's like, I mean, it's fun. Like we do it for fun, and it's fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool that you did that. So if you're someone out there that really wants to play in something like this in the future, like I think that is a really good strat to use for sure. Unless you play with somebody like Happy, and then just like
and then it's exactly.
And then you're just gonna lose everything.
Happy comes in and ruins it all. No,
yeah. But yeah, no, Sage, that's really cool that you did that. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, it's very fitting for you to win that challenge. You win it. And then you're kind of like, you're at a crossroads here. We're not really crossroads, but you have like a big decision to make here. You end up taking Braden off the block, and then Matt is the only person that can go up in that spot. And then immediately, what do you do, Sage?
Well, I'm like, let's get Maddie out because I was fully aware at this point that Maddie is the main person who had turned on me. You know, it basically like blew up my game once we got back inside, or even before we even got back inside from the split house. So like, it was kind of like my revenge moment because I planned to go to the end with Maddie regardless anyway, but then Maddie like did not have the same plan, which is understandable. Like again, I'm not mad about how anyone played this game. Like
right.
I would have taken the shot at me too and like tried to get me out. So like, love you, Maddie. But yeah, I knew in that moment that there was only one scenario now for Maddie to go home would be to get Braden's vote because I realistically did not see Happy even breaking the tie in my favor at that point. And I wasn't even aware of Happy and Maddie's final two. I didn't even know about that until after the season. Oh, wow. I just knew that they were closer than Happy and Tara were. You know what I mean? So I was like, this is, again, a Hail Mary moment. I got to try to convince Braden. And like now after seeing the episode, I don't think it was as big of a move as I thought it was. Like I thought I did some more like finessing in that moment, but I think that really Maddie just told on herself. Right. And as soon as I said, what did I say? Like I started to bring up the point and Maddie was like, that's not true. And I was like, girl, you didn't even say, I didn't say it was.
Maddie was completely caught in that moment for sure. I think Maddie kind of just like dug her own grave, which, you know, at that point, it's so late in the night that like things like that just
we're all delusional.
Everyone's delusional. Even me at that point.
Yes.
But yeah, so I do think it was a pretty big move. Had you made it to the final two, who knows? Maybe that could have awarded you the win. Who knows? Maybe that could have. Maybe Maddie could have been like, oh yeah, maybe that deserves my vote. Who knows? But I think I definitely think that was definitely a standout move for sure. I mean, even like Braden being like totally on the fence and being like, oh shit, like what do I do? Yeah, it was a big move for sure. But now we're finally at the final four. This brings us to the most recent episode that we've that just got released, and it's a very interesting outcome because for the first time, Braden like wins a challenge. So everyone's like, whoa, what's gonna happen now?
Yeah, I was also scared.
Yeah, so which understandable, but anything can happen at this point, right? It all comes down to the veto. It's the minecart pushing veto. Which did you actually? Which we don't. I don't even know if I don't know the answer to the question. Did you? So were you able to practice this one?
I'm telling you, this is 100% the truth. When I was practicing for this comps and we were getting closer to the season filming, I had practiced every single competition on my list at that point except the minecart comp. And I kid you not, in my brain, I said, he's not going to do this competition again. There's no way. I literally was like, you know what? At this point, if he does the competition, I'll just lose it. not knowing it would be the final four veto that ultimately sends me home. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
um, if you're gonna go out there and you're gonna make every competition, do every single competition because you never know. But no, it's so funny. I don't know if people are aware, but like I had said right before we walked out for the competition, if this is the minecart comp, I'm killing myself.
Right.
And then we walked out and it was.
I
So
think
it's
that might
okay.
be in the episode. I haven't watched it in a while,
Really?
but I think that's in the episode. I think it's in
Because
there.
I literally was like, I can't believe this is happening, but it's okay. That's just how it worked. But
Right.
yeah, that was definitely the biggest loss for sure.
Absolutely. I also want to just point out for any like, statistic buffs out there that really, care about the statistics of the show. Something interesting that I found out was that like the lane that Happy won on, I think it's the only lane that anybody has ever won on.
It's rigged. See, it was rigged the whole time.
It's fucking rigged, guys. No, I think we Aiden from season 8 won that challenge in that lane, and then also Robster. I think I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure. I think whoever was in that lane when we practiced the challenge the night before won it in that lane. So I don't know if that lane is just good luck. They're all exactly the same. There's nothing different about the lane.
Everyone out there, so your list is going. Pressure cooker is rigged. Minecart comp is rigged.
Pretty much, guys. I rigged the show, guy. Oh my god, cancel me.
No,
yeah,
I honestly,
yeah.
it's the most. You are the most like aware person about making sure things are fair that I've probably ever met. So it's definitely not. But
Thank you. I appreciate that. A lot of people would probably like to disagree, but I appreciate you saying that. I try. I really do. I really fucking try. It's crazy. But yeah. So at that point, so yeah, Happy wins the veto. We'll talk about like the lead up to the eviction because it was first of all, it was the most emotional round of Big Brother Minecraft I've ever seen on a recorded state. On a we're talking about unrecorded. Like all of that combined from what I've witnessed, it was the most emotional moment I've ever seen. I didn't think that like emotions could even get that serious in the game of Big Brother Minecraft.
I didn't either.
Yeah,
But
and then so what happened, Sage? I'll let you talk about it.
well, okay, so there's like two parts to it because one, there's like a trust aspect. Like I did really feel betrayed by Happy in that moment, but also there was like a personal aspect because as you know, like I've been a fan of Big Brother for as long as I can remember. And just especially like when it comes to Big Brother Minecraft, I feel like there's just this like connection there because you know how much I care about this entire game and like the way these games are played and just like all of the above. I think that I don't want to say that I cared the most, but I really do think that out of anyone playing the game that I cared the most about playing it and like taking the experience and making something really good out of it just because of my own history with it. And so there was a lot of pressure I was putting on myself to want to win the game. And I was so close in that moment that even after I lost the veto, I didn't think I was going home until I talked to Happy. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I really thought because Happy was my final two since day one, like even before Landry, Happy was my final two. I never in a million years thought that he was going to turn up. I thought we were going to compete it out at the end. So those emotions were real, you guys. The tears were real.
Yeah.
I was really distraught. I definitely had too big of a reaction, in my opinion, for something like this. But again, I don't regret it. I was emotional because I cared. I was emotional because I wanted to win and I wanted to prove myself. And I do think that Happy did the right thing, though. He definitely did, but it was hard to experience for sure.
Absolutely. And I'll take a stand and defend you for a second because I know a lot of people may be seeing this and being like, why is Sage crying right now? Happy was too. We'll say that. Happy. I've never seen Happy cry, bro. That was crazy. Happy was not happy.
I know. I was like, he has emotions.
Yeah,
what?
Right? Like, what the fuck is going on here? But let me put it into perspective for you guys that are watching this. When you're in a game of Big Brother Minecraft and you're doing this for an entire day, and then all of a sudden this game just becomes your life. Just how real Big Brother goes. You're stuck in a house for however many days you're in the house, and that game just all of a sudden becomes your life, and that's all you care about. And so like Sage, like you being so emotional over that, like I get that. It just speaks volumes to like how much you like care about this, which is not a negative thing. I think it's a positive, and I think that like caring about playing the game means that like you're there to compete. You're not there to just like, this isn't just like a whatever, game for you. And I think that's like also that that shows as to how much why you should have been cast for the show, because you genuinely cared about it. You know what I mean? So that's
Yay.
yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
Anybody coming at Sage for showing emotion, like stop it. Just please stop.
Yeah,
it.
stop it. Stop that.
I don't think
Good job.
anybody.
Get away from her.
I don't think anybody will say anything, but
yeah,
if they do, whatever. But yeah, so you're obviously very emotional in that moment. This wasn't shown in the episode. It looked almost instantaneously, but like you had to take a few moments to yourself before you came out onto the stage to do your exit interview. Not this exit interview, but the other exit interview.
Like when I walked out. Yeah,
the post eviction interview. Just tell everybody like how that actually felt in that very moment about like, you just got evicted from the game and like you're not going to win the season. Like, how did that feel?
That was really hard. Like if I had a negative emotion during the filming of it, it was just that. Like it was really hard to grapple with. Because I just felt like in my heart that I was supposed to win. You know what I mean? I know everybody feels like that, but like I really felt like I was supposed to win after the whole journey that I had just had in the house. But it's okay. It's how the game goes. It's funny because like any previous games I've played online in the past, this has always been my story. I think I've played like 3 or 4 games online, and every single one I make it to the final round of the game and get betrayed by someone that I was going to the end with. It's happened every single time. I even told you in my application that my downfall will be trusting people, because it has been my life story at this point. I trust people too much. Like, well, it takes a lot to get my trust, and then once you get my trust by like showing an action or whatever, then I'm like a ride or die with you. And that was just, that was hard to happen with Happy, but it's okay because he is in the final 3 now and he has a shot to win. So Absolutely. It worked out for him, But the thing also that was really, really nice to happen is like, after that happens, I was the last person evicted before the final 3. And so like I went back into the jury house, and the like warmth that I got from everyone, like they were all like pissed that I was there. Because honestly, like I have been told like after the season that most people were going to vote for me to win.
Right.
And so like knowing that I was probably going to win, it did make it hurt in the moment even more. But like knowing that after, I was like, okay, it's like I did play a good game. Like I did deserve it. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I don't have the money to show for it, but it's okay.
Yeah, I think that and not to like totally like gas you up, but I think I definitely think that you'll look back on this and be like, wow, like I don't like Sage. I don't know how you'll ever able to top the game that you played. I mean, it was pretty good.
At this point, I just have to go on the real Big Brother. That's the only thing I can do different.
Yeah, exactly. At this point, that's all that really can be done. Oh my god. But yeah, overall, like, what was your thoughts on just the experience playing this game? Like, did it just summarize it? It
was fantastic. It was like a dream come true to play this game. That I seriously mean that.
Yeah.
Because, I just like having hosted games like this for a long time. It was really fun to finally like try one. In this experience it was great. Like I said, I accomplished like almost all of my milestones that I wanted to do. I had some good moments. I had some bad moments. Like, it was really good. So I would definitely recommend. Well, I was gonna say recommend people to apply, but I don't know if you do another season, apply for.
Who knows?
You'll never know. You never know. Apply for a season. Apply for whatever shows. Just like it was very fun. So thank you for letting me be on the show. I know that we also have some history there, and so the fact that you even like put me on the show was already like a really big deal, and I'm glad that I made something good out of it. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. And like obviously like people probably don't know this, but yeah, like Sage and I like for a span of time, like we're just not friends at all. And like a lot of just like, we were kids, so I can't like really
literally
I can't like put a lot of like, it's fine. Like we've grown up and like grown past it. But like I wanted to put Sage on the show because I knew that like I think for anybody that like was involved in any of that back then could see like me and Sage kind of like bury the hatchet and like just be like, wow, like this is good. This is a good thing that can happen. And I really Sage, I really wanted to give you a shot on this show because I honestly felt I felt bad for how things happened in the past. So I really just wanted to kind of like make it up to you in a sense, and not, obviously like, I think your application speaks for itself too. But another reason why I actually really wanted you on the show is because I think that I think it could just kind of like, I don't know, like I feel like it would make up for a lot of the shit that you and I have been through in the past. So I think that
Yes.
that it would make up a lot for it. So I'm happy that you got the
Thank
experience that
you.
you got out of it. And yeah, I don't regret whatsoever casting you. Like at all. I think it was great. I'm so happy you were on the season.
When it's made something so good out of it, now we have a relationship again. We've even met in person now.
We have.
That timeline is crazy. Like from years ago to that is already great. So yeah, I'm glad that this is where we are now, and it was a great time. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely, Sage. Oh my gosh, it's been great. For those of you that are watching this podcast and have questions for Sage, leave them down in the comments below.
Be nice. Be nice, please.
Yeah, please be nice. I'm gonna I'll message Sage and let them know if anybody has questions for you. And that's that. The finale is going to be on, hold on, let me just double check. I think it's September 19th. So if y'all haven't voted for your favorite house guest, please make sure you do that, because voting is closing on September 17th. Sage, where can people find you, follow you, and everything like that?
I think that currently my socials are just, I say currently because I've changed my name so many times.
Right.
I think my socials are just at World of Sage on everything. Sage with a Y. And I don't really have anything else to plug. I'm just kind of a normal person. But
okay, cool. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, Sage, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Thank you so much for playing on the season and playing your heart
yes.
out. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I have nothing else for you, Sage.
Me neither. Thanks for everything.
Thanks so much, Sage. And for everybody, thank you all for watching. See you at the finale on September 19th.